Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very special episode of the Talkaround show that you've been waiting for. This is the big one, the big gay Q&A. Before we start with any introductions, I just want to do this one thing. Today's episode is very special. However, we want to just start off by saying we don't mean to offend anyone, although a lot of this is going to be very offensive.
Yeah, it
The views and opinions expressed by those here are just a bunch of bullshit. All right, we're here, we're having fun, we're open-minded. This is our opportunity to ask questions, to answer questions, and just to have conversations with someone who's not going to say, oh my God, did you call me gay? I'm so offended. Yeah. Because you are, okay? Let's just move on with life and get that out of the way.
Yeah. I was going to say there were definitely three things that I wanted to say ahead, and since you already brought it up, we'll get them out of the way. The first one is that obviously everybody has their own life experiences, and all that we can talk about are our own experiences. So anything we say today, anything we talk about, that doesn't necessarily reflect every homosexual in the world. It doesn't reflect all of the gay community. It doesn't reflect anything but our own experiences. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, which we talked about on the end of the last podcast a little bit, was terminology. You know, we talked about how right now it's LGBTQ plus. That's the term that I've chosen to use. I know that excludes some people. I don't mean it to exclude some people, but it unfortunately does. And I know a lot of people get upset about those kind of things. We'll probably use terms today that are not the politically correct terms. We'll probably use terms today that is going to make somebody somewhere upset because they feel excluded or they feel like they've been people that are included shouldn't be.
Like Wang Muncher.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Vera Wang Muncher.
But we don't mean offense. I think the best explanation of that is still Patton Oswalt in one of his stand-up specials a few years ago talked about how there was like, the worst people in the world learn the terminology and then use it. So when they talk, people are like, oh, that's not so bad. And then the people with the best intentions out there are like, hey man, I ain't got no problem with no queers. And it's like, you hear that and you're like, oh, that person's terrible. And it's like, no, they just said they don't have any problem and they legitimately meant it. And the third thing,
I take offense to their English usage.
That would make sense.
That offends me.
The third thing, and I'm sorry, this is such a downer at the beginning of the podcast.
What, Kyle?
I know, I'm really sorry. But I think it is something that's important to talk about because I know several LGBTQ plus people that have attempted suicide. Thankfully, none of them have succeeded. I know that it is really common. I think it's 1 in 5 LGBTQ youth under the age of 25 have attempted it, and 3 in 5 have thought about it. So it's a very common problem. Where our special guest, who we'll get to in a second here, and I are from in Utah, it's even more common among teenagers, especially questioning teenagers, just because it's there's a culture there that sort of promotes if you're any type of other, you're wrong, and you either need to change or get out, which is pretty sad to say. But anyways, if you are out there and you need help, there's a fantastic organization called the Trevor Project. Go to thetrevorproject.org. If you are considering self-harm, suicide, anything horrible, or, there are people out there that want to talk to you. There are people out there that will love you. There are people out there that want to help you. You just have to reach out to them. Their number is 1-866-488-7386, 1-866-488-7386. If you're thinking about doing anything, you can call, text, again, thetrevorproject.org.
We'll also be putting links to the Trevor Project.
I figured in the show notes. Like I said, I'm sorry that just started on such a downer note, but
it'll go up. Don't worry.
Yeah.
That's not a downer. We just figure with all the insulting we're about to do, we might as well start off with something positive.
It's just the right move.
Exactly. But so
it doesn't have to be LGBT. Why can't it just be people? Why can't we just be people?
Can we all just be people?
Why can't it just be people who need?
Let's introduce our special guest first. So everybody's here. Steve's here. Matthew's here. Billy's here. Randy's here. Yep. I'm here. This week we have a special guest. I'm Kyle.
Oh, okay.
I think. This week we have a special guest. My friend Guy is out here from New York.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, Guy.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
How's it going? My name is Guy. I'm a 30-year-old white male, and I've been professionally homosexual since I was about 11 years old.
Professional.
So
that's when you turned professional?
Card carrying member.
Yeah, it was a pretty early application process, which was great. It was very Harry Potter. It just came through me at the window. or came at me through the window.
Still, even better. Was it a small round window at about waist height?
Yeah, it had a bunch of duct tape around the edges. It was really weird. It was neat. I don't know.
Something about a glory hole?
A glory hole.
Which I never understood the name. Why glory? Why, like, of all the things to call it, like, why not just like a fuck hole or like I don't know, like a
Surprise sex hole.
a dick portal, but like a glory hole. Like, is that so you can just talk about it in polite conversation?
I've seen it. I have seen a glory hole with that written around it in marker, gay guillotine. And it's just like, ooh,
yikes.
tempting, but
I like surprise sex hole better.
Yeah, me too.
my penis does look like Marie Antoinette, so it might have been. That's why I was
It's
a
got a
little
little
intimidated.
coiffed wig and
I was like,
a little
"Ooh."
bustle.
Let them eat cake.
Let them eat deer. I like this. This is a
And
good
we're
start.
rolling.
Brilliant.
So I guess let's start it off. What questions do you guys have that you have always wanted to know about being gay that you've never been able to ask?
Because this is what I always wish I had in like the 5th grade was like just bring a real life homosexual in front of the class and be like, okay, ask him something. You know, throw him chips, like whatever. Like,
Dance, monkey boy.
You got the clicker and some like treats.
The visual
Answer
I
the
have
question.
of, okay, ladies and gentlemen, in front of you right now is a real life homosexual. Don't get too close.
Where did you find him?
Yes. Okay.
under a bridge.
Okay. Question number 1. And this actually came from a conversation that someone had with someone who is very dear to me. I'm not going to say it.
Oh
I think
boy.
it's his wife.
Not yet.
We have Kyle and we have Guy here in the room with us.
Represent.
Am I going to catch the gayness? Is it contagious?
Do you have any open wounds? Do you?
Oh! Speaking of
Someone
which,
here's been to a Cher concert that wasn't Kyle.
speaking of which, heard it on the news today.
That was me.
See, he didn't catch it. He's good.
I didn't-
Yeah, we're good.
And that wasn't a serious question, but
No.
it actually was asked. See, it's things like that I just find, it's like, come on, really? Oh, just because like 2 guys adopt a kid, you think the kid's going to grow up gay?
Yeah,
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Just because 2 guys go to a Bette Midler concert together doesn't make them gay.
And kiss a little bit.
Midler
It's
concert.
like-
It was great.
Only if you share
Look,
penises.
I have a list of things that make you
But that
gay.
might be the one thing.
We'll go over that if you want. I mean,
Like
it's,
objective things where it's like, yeah, that puts you in an immediate category.
number one thing, watching NASCAR makes you a homosexual.
I
Makes you
believe that.
gay as hell.
100%. The more you watch, the gayer you become.
Gay as hell.
And we just pissed off the South. And
Oh, good.
Number
And
2,
Las Vegas.
professional
And our old
wrestling.
boss.
So, number 2, professional wrestling.
We walked into a bar last night, and right as we're rolling up to order a drink, I look up at the screen and they had like UFC going, and it's nothing but short shorts, blood, and sweat, and they're rolling around on the ground. Like, I didn't know what I was looking at for a second.
Yeah.
I'm like, this.
I think
I'm
the
used
ref,
to seeing this played in bars, but definitely not in Las Vegas.
I think the ref should carry baby oil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Squirt it out.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
I'd watch.
Completely
looking
change the dynamic.
I would tune right the hell in.
It would definitely change the dynamic 100%.
Absolutely.
But I think I know where you're about to talk about, but go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you were gonna talk about the
you go
president's
ahead.
tweet today,
No,
weren't
you
you?
go.
No, I wasn't going to talk about the president's
Oh.
tweet today.
So-
I was going to talk about a fantastic thing before you get into the president's tweet, and I just wanted to put that out there right now. Now, I know that the stigma that I'm about to put out is very bad. However, one way or the other, this would have been mentioned today, whether this was the big gay Q&A or not. The first person to ever be completely cured of AIDS because of stem cell cloning or
Second.
technology. I thought it was the first. They said it was the first on news this
Second.
morning. That's what I get for listening to Fox.
Yeah, see?
Well, there you go.
And
That's where you
there
went
is
wrong.
a gigantic asterisk next to that.
They were
Well,
being treated
as
for
of now.
cancer at the
So
time.
here's the thing.
right? They were being treated for cancer.
Both patients have had serious bone cancer issues,
Yeah.
and they both also have a some type of a genetic abnormality.
Right.
That means that the normal treatment for the bone disease that they could have, they can't have. So they had to go for a more serious treatment. And they both have, these 2 men have both survived the treatment. And because of the treatment, ended up with a 0 count of the AIDS virus within their
Well, that is just not what I wanted it to be. I'm going to cut this out of the show. Let's go on to the next.
It's really depressing because everybody, last time when the first guy had it happen, everybody's like, they cured AIDS. We're done. You don't have to ever wear a condom again. And it's like, no, hold on.
Whoa.
Wait a minute.
That's what PrEP
They
is for.
cured AIDS if you have a serious case of bone cancer and you have progressed beyond HIV to AIDS because you can't take the medication that prevents it from progressing from HIV to AIDS. Yeah, there you go.
Wait.
The prophylaxis?
Yes.
Yes.
And on top of that,
Sure.
you have to have a certain type of treatment that they only use in cases where you have this particular genetic abnormality. And the treatment is basically, it's like a 5% survival rate.
So it's available to everybody in large tubs of pills at your neighborhood CVS.
Exactly. Yes, it's ready to go. But where I was going with this, Trump tweeted about this morning and said, AIDS is like, I don't remember exactly what the hell the tweet was. I could look it up, but I'm not going to bother. He basically said that AIDS is now cured. So yippee, hooray.
He probably took credit for it, didn't he?
I'm sure he did.
Yeah,
Sure
I
he
did
did.
this.
I'm sure he put a tiny flag in it. Just
Yeah. And it's really upsetting because he also just cut funding for HIV and AIDS research a few months ago, which is very
Class act all the way around. Just
We'll be diverting that
a
to
real
the new golf course.
philanthropist.
super guy.
Oh, well, that was fun.
Sorry, that was also that's this whole episode. It's going to be funny and then a
then
downer note.
Well, this is a very serious topic, and the way that homosexuality is handled by today's society, in this country specifically, because it's worse in others, you could be killed in many others. Sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think here's where I get offensive on purpose.
Do it.
I think your people are funny.
We are. It's one of the requirements.
Your people. You mean by your people. No.
What do you mean, you people?
No, I applaud the fact that most of the gay, LGBTQ plus, we're going to go with Kyle's definition of that. I wanted to throw an A in there for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm pretty sure there was one at one point.
Asexual.
Yeah. Anyway, most of, I'd say 90% of the members of your
PayPal.
And I don't want to say people, but the community.
Of the queens, you know.
I couldn't find the word. Of the queens, you know. Well, not only queens.
Yeah.
You get the lesbians.
Now you're just some
You know, all
queen
the
that
others.
I used to know.
But 90% of them have been such good people and good-hearted people. I have never felt threatened in the presence of someone that was a member, that was a member of the LGBTQ
Except for that
plus
gay guy that tried to kick my ass at the bar.
That happens.
What?
You know.
Okay, now you got to tell this story.
No, keep going, Steve.
No, please.
No, go ahead.
I'm done. I just wanted to say that. I wanted to say that I applaud that because with everything that you go through on a daily basis with your life and what you feel inside versus what you can actually project outside in most places and everything, everybody handles it with a smile.
And I think it's really interesting that you say that. And it's neat that you notice it too, because that's kind of my experience as well. And I think that comes from like when you grow up gay, especially in a place like Mormon occupied Utah, or most of the places in the United States or anywhere in the world, because you show up and there's this sort of feeling where, you know, when they're passing out like all of the projects in school and everyone gets a little kit on their desk and they're like, open up your kit, and everyone pops open the box. And you look inside yours and you're like, oh my shit, it doesn't look like anything anyone else has. It's like, oh, okay. And you have to just kind of work with it and like go along with the whole thing. The creative problem solving aspect and this whole idea that like, well, I think I'm already sort of fucked, so I just got to have a good attitude about this and try to make the best of it. I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
You got to put the ball end closer to your mouth.
Okay, I was
All
like,
right.
no,
your words are very important to us. I want to make sure they're captured and highlighted.
What's unfortunate is
as I spit pretzel pieces
you
across
put
the
the
room.
mic
Hey, now we know
closer
each
to your
other.
mouth. Looks exactly like the "Do you want to give me a hand job" motion.
Yeah, I thought we were just
And
having
so,
casual, fun,
there
like
have been
offensive
several
gestures at each other.
times,
So I'm like, sweet, yeah, this is normal. I feel very at home.
There are several times in my career where I've been on the side of the stage trying to get somebody to put it, and I'm like, closer to your mouth. Sorry.
Well, you don't want to be offensive, but you don't want to say, hey, can you try that like a dick at the club and just put that closer to your mouth,
That's
please?
all you got to say.
See?
Pretend it's a dick at the club.
Right.
And I'm like,
Sorry,
here we
fine.
are. The same
Sorry,
will
go.
be my
Look at all
fucking
the
face.
levels over
And
there,
I'll
Andy.
still carry on a conversation with the guy's husband while I've got this right here.
Right?
So, because I'm a professional.
Well,
we covered that.
I mean, He had a rockin' ass, from what I heard.
Don't they always?
What was the term? Knuckle fucker?
No, fuck knuckle.
Fuck knuckle. This one's my fuck knuckle. It does me good. Whoop.
This reminds me of the time I was hanging out with the porn producer.
No, we've already heard that story.
I know. Did I say that on the podcast or just on headset?
I can't remember. I can't keep track of anything
just on
anymore.
headset.
It's kind of blur into each other.
Tell us more about the neoprene jockstrap.
Yeah, so we were discussing this a little bit before we started recording, how Matthew, who is very into baseball and softball, for him, a jockstrap is a piece of safety equipment that keeps your cup in place so you don't damage the old family
berries?
jewels, twig and berries.
Yeah. The old dog in the bathtub?
The old dog in the bathtub.
Both those dogs now.
But for most gay men, it's more like a piece of lingerie.
Yeah, it's a lingerie and kind of like uniform. It's like it's the jockstrap. It's what you do.
I already saw a picture.
Yeah.
Where can I read these rules?
Well, scribbled on the inside of any bathroom wall in Chelsea. I don't know. You can find it all online. Gets a little convoluted fast, but you can fall down that rabbit hole quicker than you'd think.
So neoprene jockstrap.
Yes, I for Christmas actually in my stocking I got a neoprene, what we've started calling the combat jock, because while it looks like a regular jockstrap, the whole body of it is basically made out of neoprene, and along the back it has like a fanny pack sort of attachment. Well, not attachment, it's like built into it. So it's got like a pocket with a zipper so you can put your phone and your wallet in it, and then on the outside of that,
Handy.
eye drops and chapstick and all this shit. And off to the side, it's got just a little tiny like pouch off to the side with a little Velcro on it for easy access. So you can just keep your poppers in there. And it's like, it's got everything you need. And you're
Change,
set.
right? Poppers means change? Oh, no.
Little brown bottle.
It's used for cleaning VHS tapes.
Yeah.
All gay men collect classic VHS tapes.
Yes, that is 100% true. So if you ever find a bottle of VHS head cleaner in someone's drawer, that's exactly what that is
Exactly
for.
what it is. It's
I keep my tapes next to my Laserdisc
What,
collection. Thank you.
Very homosexual.
What color is it? Is it lime
VHS.
green?
It's yellow and black, like caution tape. A lot of like, a lot
Classic neoprene colors. A big neon.
Say body glove on it.
Exactly.
They do now
Body
make
glove. Is it body glove?
they do now make
might be
LED
90s.
light up ones too. That are
Oh yeah, I have a
pretty
lot of
fancy.
friends with the LED like light up jock straps and harnesses and
That
all
way, like a
sorts of
strobe
things.
when I walk in the room. It's like,
But you can also turn down the intensity, so it's not too much when you're in like the rooms that have zero lighting in it, and you're not
dark
throwing
rooms?
off. Yeah,
It's just your crotch
throwing
glowing
off
lime,
everyone
glowing
else's
lime
vibes.
green.
Harness.
we actually talked about guys who were in the dark room with like their fucking light up shoes in the middle of it. And it's like, nah, you got to turn that off. That's not for here. That's for the dance
I
floor.
want you to know my mental image right now is on a blinged out Sean Connery.
you're having a Zardoz moment, aren't you?
Yeah, that ponytail, those pistols.
The harness and jockstrap.
Yeah,
Basically what it is.
it's very similar looking. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm going to have to watch this movie. That's
you got to watch
I
that.
can't believe you haven't watched it yet.
We've had several references about this movie. I haven't seen it yet.
It is like the movie that
Never was.
centralizes it all. No, it was. Believe me, it was. And Kyle's got a poster.
Yeah, I do.
Kyle
I have the
referenced
movie
it.
poster.
He referenced it like months ago,
I
and
know.
then the next day it was on cable, and I was texting Kyle. I'm like, I'm watching fucking Zardoz. This is the stupidest shit
What
ever.
is this fucking movie?
What a
Cable? What the hell is cable?
All right, this is
Oh, sorry, I have cable. I'm old.
this is how I'd like to approach a couple of these questions now. Beyond the jockstrap, I know, Kyle, that you
That's a good name for an episode.
Did he say beyond the jockstrap or beyond?
beyond.
Beyond?
Dude, I have
Beyond.
a cold.
Oh,
It's okay. You still sound pretty good in my headset.
He's not wearing a headset. I know that you've got some questions that you prepared for this.
I don't know if they're really questions. They're more just like topic starters. But
What I'd like you to do, okay, because here's the thing. The problem is not a problem. It's not a problem at all. But the four of us straight guys at this table right now don't care that you're gay. So we don't have any burning issues to bring up and bring out into the light and so forth. But you, I know,
besides the clap.
have the two of you, kind of itches.
Just a little bit.
Burns a little bit.
The two of you, I know, have encountered a lot of things throughout your journeys of life. So why don't you bring some of those topics up that have been big issues for you, and we will discuss.
oh boy,
Has anyone seen my prison wallet?
Sorry.
I love that term.
Are you okay with that, Kyle?
Yeah, that's fine. I think we can work with that. I was gonna. Now that I'm on the spot, I got nothing. I'm like, the penis is fun, and
Right. Recurring
I told
themes.
you this was going to happen.
right. We blew the wad too soon.
We did. We had a great conversation before anybody else got here.
There's plenty of wad to go around. I mean, I think it's funny. Everyone's families always wants to know if you're a top or a bottom. Like when you come out.
That's a
there
good
you go.
subject.
That is, yeah. That,
So,
for some
do you guys actually know what that means?
Yeah.
Top,
Catch,
bottom,
receive,
first
top,
style.
bottom.
yeah, it's exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Submissive or passive?
not necessarily.
controlling
Well, in
your-
other countries,
receiver?
that's kind of the terminology.
Pitcher,
They'll say
catcher?
like, pitcher, catcher,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. But passive roles, they'll always talk about too. It's like, are you the passive guy? It's like, are you the ass? Are you the bottom? Are you the girl here?
Yeah, are you the wife or the husband?
That's the one that always like gets me is when people are like, so who's the girl?
Right?
Who's the woman? Who's the wife in your relationship? And it's like, we both have penises.
Right? It's like our dicks are
There's
about the
not a-
same size, so I don't know what to
Yeah,
tell you.
I don't
Like,
know.
The best response to that, is it a guy saying it to you? Or just you to
Usually,
turn
yes.
around and
Yeah,
say,
usually
well,
always.
who's the husband in your relationship?
Ooh, that's a
Right?
good one.
That would not be me.
Oh, I clearly wear no pants. I'm only wearing pants because she's out of town today.
sans pants.
Matthew's been walking around this place like he owns it. He's like, hey,
Welcome to my house.
There's a hole in your pants.
She's not here, is she?
Yeah.
She can't see me.
She's standing behind me.
Yeah,
Guys,
when,
I'm going to leave this door wide open. Is she coming home? Let's close the door. Let's.
when myself and friends and people who I've known have all come out to their families, there's always like this sort of follow up or this expectation where you come out of the closet and everyone, oh God, how could you do this to us? Blah, 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 blah. Are you at least like the boy or the top or like, especially, and I've noticed it's much more of a thing in Latin culture. They emphasize and stress that a lot because a lot of times, like, they'll kind of just roll it off their shoulder where it's like, he's a top. So it's not as bad, whatever. You're like, okay, I guess, but unless I'm fucking you, what does it matter? Like, unless we are actually going to engage in the sexual scenario, what does it matter if I'm the top or the bottom? Like, is it so important to your mental image to know? Like, do you need to see me either on my elbows, like flipping
Clearly.
through Vogue?
Yeah. Right.
Or like,
laying on a bed.
right.
Just Teen Vogue.
Or wearing like a trucker cap and keeping my boots on. Like, is this for like the image that you're trying to
Wear a
put
hard
together?
hat instead, or maybe like a alien headdress or something.
Absolutely. See, we're back in the village, people.
So dots or feathers?
Oh, feathers.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Want to get that straight.
Woo woo.
Or right. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know. I think a lot of it has to do with people have that. There's a lot of people that are still tied up with that idea that like a man has to be like the one who brings home the bacon. The man has to be the worker. The man has to be the one who has the job and provides everything. And the woman has to stay at home. Right. And
That
the
is
woman
an
has to be the
inaccurate
one that stays home and takes care of the kids. But so many people still have that. Even people who don't live it still have that programmed into their brain and they still act like that. Maybe not at home, but around.
Yeah, it's really hard for them to shake. And I find that a lot of people ask questions like this specifically because they don't necessarily want to know the answers. They just want you to say something so that they can have their reaction.
They want to be comforted.
Yeah, or like they want to be offended or they want to And so I'll tell people whenever they ask me something like that, it's like, I'm going to answer. Like, if you ask me a question, I'm going to answer. I'm going to be very candid and honest about my experience.
Sure.
I'm not going to pull fucking punches. So if you don't actually want to know and you're just like looking for the reaction or the in it, then get fuck yourself.
Right. They're looking to make themselves feel better, not you.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that informational question is more for their benefit and not yours.
And if they're looking to make me feel better, now we can talk about if I'm a top or a bottom.
right.
Hey.
Hey.
Just tell them you don't know. You can never keep that straight.
Yeah, I can't keep straight.
Hey, there's Billy.
Hey, welcome to the show.
Well, I only woke up like maybe
You don't have a
15
watch
minutes
on, but
ago.
that was a good.
You haven't
it was
even
good.
woken up yet, have you? You're
You
still
can borrow my
mostly
watch.
asleep.
It's okay.
Sure
It's
the fuck in.
It's not 4 o'clock. Oh my God.
It is
I
in
need
New
to set
York.
this back. Yeah.
Hey, what does the gay rooster say every morning?
Any cockle-doo?
Cock-a-doodle-doo?
No, any
You've done that joke.
cockle-do.
You've done that joke twice on the podcast now.
No?
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah.
Have I said
Yeah.
that? I don't listen to our podcast.
But you said it
I'm into
in
it.
episode 8, the Ocho.
Right?
Oh, Joe.
What's
It was a preview.
Was
Steve
there,
loves the cock.
The comb's my favorite part.
was there an interesting problem over there, Steve? You were looking around like,
Oh, I was wondering if Billy was dead.
oh, okay. Yes, he is.
'Cause there's been so many opportunities. And
He did
Billy
look
hadn't-
confused.
But now you
He
said something.
did.
so
And
it's okay.
I was confused. I was like, uh-oh. Did something happen? Is the house going to blow up? Is somebody going to die?
Maybe.
But apparently not.
So, hold on. I know you have a list there.
No, go ahead. Please. I would much rather do this
Like-
organically than go to the list.
It's organic.
I'm the father of 3 sons.
Congrats, by the way.
Thank you. And I don't like, is there an awakening moment? Like, do you, it was like, I don't even know how to ask the question appropriately.
They have found that
When did you know that you were gay?
they found that
Thank you.
most gay
That's
guys
the question you're trying to ask.
okay.
it
Yeah.
catch the gayness when their father is heavily into things like softball
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Play with my drumsticks.
and Rush.
Oh, boy.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. We're done.
We found it.
Turn it off. Turn it off now.
Turn it all
And
off.
Matthew
Get out of my garage.
There was, for me personally, there was kind of an awakening moment, but at the same time, I've always kind of been all over the place. I'm a very different kind of person in a lot of ways. I'm sort of a crazy person,
Like,
but there was, I think, definitely a moment like around puberty. I finally figured out. I'm like, oh, okay, because I always thought that I just had like more affections towards guys than girls, and like I wasn't like too worried about it or fixated on it,
Right.
until my sex drive turned on, and I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. That's what's happening. Okay, now I get it.
So it's not dissimilar because, I mean, there was a moment when, girls
when you
were
really
all of a
start to
sudden
notice it, and you're like,
were
oh,
attractive.
yeah. It's
Before
like,
that,
that's
they were
really
like,
neat.
I could, I'm riding my bike. I don't really give a shit.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like, oh, when did she move into the neighborhood?
Yeah, it's like, that's
Why do
pretty
I
cool.
care?
All right.
Oh, that's why I care.
Oh, I thought you were
What's
going
up
to say,
with
when
that?
did I take the seat off of this bicycle?
Yeah, I have noticed.
It happened
Billy,
organically.
were you living in my neighborhood? How did you?
I have noticed that seems to be a really similar story for most gay men anyways, is that they, right around when they started going through puberty, they noticed that like, while a lot of their friends were like, wow, look at that girl's boobs. They were like, yeah. And they were looking down at their friend's package.
Dicks.
DX.
Dicks.
Yucks. As it
How
works.
many S's in that? Dicks. There's 9 A's. DYAAAAAAAACKSSSS. Dicks.
Dicks.
What are you doing?
Playing power tool sounds.
Yeah, just trying to
Feels
find
right.
something that fits there. But
He's grinding.
That's grinder.
That's Grinder.
I thought you had some questions.
I don't have any questions.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one.
We figured it all out
No,
at
I have
puberty.
questions.
We have no
I
more
did.
questions.
No, I did.
That was good. That was a good question. That was, I mean, for me, like I said, for me personally, similar situation when I was like 12 or 13. I like everyone else that I knew that I was friends with was starting to be like, oh, so-and-so, she has such nice boobs and, oh, I'd like to see her get in her pants and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, no, none of that is exciting to me at all. I don't like it.
And I remember distinctly hitting puberty and masturbating for one of the first times and just kind of like throwing it out there energetically. Like, it's like, what's doing it for me? This feels neat. This is cool.
What were you throwing?
Just throwing my my attention, my fixations, out there.
Because I figured after you were masturbating, it's
Right. I'm like, I'll just fling this on the wall
kind of
and
like
forget about
Silence of
it.
the Lambs,
Exactly.
Slingshot it on the back door.
And I do remember a distinct moment where I was like, nah, it's not about Halle Berry. It's all about Leonardo DiCaprio. And that was like,
That was the deciding.
that was kind
Halle
of an
Berry or
oh shit
Leonardo
moment.
DiCaprio.
Yeah, I
What
was
are we
in San
talking,
Diego at the
Titanic
time, and I'm like, no, like a Romeo and Juliet moment, like Punky Dirty Beach Boy, like it solidified everything. I was like, oh shit. And I kind of like had this mini meltdown because I'm like, oh shit, I'm probably gay. Oh shit.
Shit.
Not what's eating Gilbert Grape?
Right?
Oh, then
Gilbert.
probably should have a talk after that.
Mama.
I burned the whole fucking house down.
Imagine the gas tank. Boom, boom.
It was kinder that way. Yeah. And that was like, I had a weird coming out experience too, because I waited a very long time. Like I was in my early mid 20s when I started coming out.
Really?
Yeah. And
I could have sworn.
what's crazy about it too
earlier.
is,
I knew Kyle pre coming out.
yeah.
Like,
and
whoa.
yeah. Ooh.
That's natural.
Yeah.
What?
could you be a peach and grab me another kilt lifter?
But
Official sponsor.
I wish.
yeah. Kill Lifter, if you're out there and you want to sponsor this podcast.
Ha! You don't win the bingo. I didn't ask
Sponsor
for
it before you listen to my story about what Kill Lifter made me think of.
So go ahead.
But when I did, it was very weird because what was always weird for me was I had no family stigma. Like my family has always been very open about the idea of like, you know, my mom has a couple of cousins that are gay and they were never like stigmatized or, you know, treated any differently at family gatherings and things. And they both had pretty much longtime partners they were basically married to. So I knew coming out was not going to be a problem, but it was weird for me when I finally did, because my parents were both just like, "Oh, we love you." I was like, "And you're not like gonna forget about it?" No, it's fine.
Do you want to hear anything more than that? Because that sounds like that's the exact thing you want to hear. It was exactly what I wanted. Yeah. And what was even weirder was then I'm like, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to tell." Like my grandparents and my aunts and uncles and all this stuff. And my mom, like the next day was like, so I was talking to grandma this morning. I told her you were gay. And I'm like, okay. Hey, how did that go? She's like, yeah, it's not a big deal. But she said that she's going to Aunt Sharon's tomorrow and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, great. And I called Sharon to talk to her and I told her you're gay. And she's, she's going to Texas to be with her grandkids next week. Oh, okay.
Great. And how did that go? Oh, it was great. No problem. And that was it. Like I did not have to come out to anybody in my family. My mom just did it for me. And on the one hand, that's fantastic.
It also
on the
seems
other hand,
atypical.
It's very atypical. And on the other hand, it's also kind of not, there's like a catharsis in coming out to people.
Sure.
That I did not get in any of those situations.
Kind of like the deep breath, like the exhale.
Exactly. Like that. And I'm gay.
There, I finally got rid of it. And
Exactly.
I finally got rid of keeping that in my head, and now
Yeah
Yeah.
Because you do feel very much like there's this facet to yourself, this part of yourself that you do have to keep hidden, even like in my experience where hardly anyone was surprised, but it was still very much a cathartic thing because it changes people's relationship with you and the box that they have for you in their mind. It's really kind of interesting. Because like my coming out wasn't like Kyle's really at all. Because when I finally broke down to my mom and told her, I think I was 15, and she kind of had this somber, like, let's take a breath. We don't have to talk about it. We're not going to like run out into the world and tell up our friends about this. We're just going to think it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. And I woke up the next morning to like a mailbox full of letters from everyone on my mom's side of the family. That like, it was crazy. All the propaganda and are you sure? Right. And the whole like, and semi-famously.
Have you prayed about it?
I had, exactly.
I know this guy, his name is Mike Pence. He's got a great program for you.
I haven't exactly prayed about it, but I did wind up on my knees a lot. I got a letter from my grandmother who was on a Mormon mission at the time. My grandparents were in Billings, Montana. And it was hysterical because she'd sent me this like 3.5-page dissertation on the story of like the young prince in Arabia who like had so much money, he thought he could command the sea from like coming in during the tide. And so he'd like go down to the ocean, like command the sea not to come in. And I can't really remember how the story ends, but gay people go to hell and Billings is beautiful. Miss you, Grandma. And I'm like it was the weirdest wrap up at the very end. It was like, I can't remember how the story finished, but it's valid. I'm like, okay. Like there was a lot of resistance and it was weird for a couple of years. And then in and out of like therapies that I agreed to try to keep people off my back.
Sure.
Yeah. You know, just your standard gay aversion therapies.
Right. Let's expunge this.
And I'm going to assume
work.
that you never actually finish coming out. Every new person you meet, you basically, if you want to become closer, even on a friendly basis, there's got to be some kind of almost coming out point.
Kind of. I mean, listen, if you don't figure out in like the first 2 hours, like that's kind of on you, because I'm pretty gay.
Yeah, but hold on though. You do reside in New York, and as a previous New York dweller, it's hard to tell sometimes. There's a lot of metrosexual going on down there.
That's true. In Vegas and Utah, I'm easy to spot. In New York, I actually have a coworker, a dear friend of mine. We've known each other for years now. When we first met, she thought I was straight for like 2 weeks. But at the time I was huskier. I was shaving my head. I looked a little more butch. She actually thought I was straight. And I'm like, really? I'm like, but then I remembered she came from the fashion and beauty world. So a lot of the guys you're hanging out with are like super out there. And you're like, okay, like I get it. When that's your experience with gay people at large and you meet some who are like, like Kyle over here. He was just like, yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, it's a dick. It's whatever.
I would have never known that Kyle was gay until one day you said, "Oh yeah, my husband and I."
I passed pretty easily for straight. Apparently,
yeah. I didn't know.
My mom was floored. She's like,
wait, Kyle's homosexual.
I'm like,
he's a beef eater.
Jim.
I do dress as a beef eater when I'm going out for the night, so. I go exactly the opposite of everybody else. Everyone else is just a jockstrap. I'm a full English beef eater with the hat.
I would kill to take you out like that in the city. Like,
I march everywhere, so it's real slow. But I get there in the end.
He always does.
Literally.
You saw where I was
For
going.
the changing of the guard.
So
I don't know. I forget who it is that said it, but they said that there's the first time you come out and then the last time you come out. The first time you come out is an awakening, and the last time you come out happens right before you die.
Yeah.
Because that's how it is. Every single person you meet, you're going to have to come out to.
Yeah. And that's just kind of part of it. And I was actually talking to a friend about this not too long ago. A friend who is in sort of a similar situation. He's like, I'm just sort of tired of explaining it to people. And like, he was getting worn down by like people's stupid questions and things. He's like, I just feel like I shouldn't have to explain any of this. And I'm like, if you're outside of a majority of people, you are going to have to explain your situation and be an ambassador for what you are about for the entirety of your life. And since high school, I had always tried to like make an impression on people that being gay isn't necessarily about like being the best gay you can be. It's about being a really good person, and hopefully other people will see that, and be, you can change much more opinions that way of just like trying to be the best person you can be, because you are constantly coming out and you are an ambassador for the people.
The people.
What do you guys think? Should we take a 5?
Let's take a 5.
A quick break.
Yeah.
Break in the middle here.
Sorry.
Well, that's okay. We'll get back to it here. And
Yeah, I don't want to start another question until we break.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Thank you for listening to the Talkaround show. We're proud to announce that we are fundraising for the Trevor Project, and would be honored if you would visit our fundraising page, which can be found via our website at thetalkaroundshow.com. Please take a moment to visit thetrevorproject.org for more on what this great charity is doing and what it hopes to achieve. Thank you again. Now back to the Talkaround show.
This will be my greatest performance. Here we go. We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
We're going to jump right back into this. Okay, let's get this over now that we've warmed up a little bit.
Yeah, I'm really warming up.
Welcome back to the Talkaround show. Okay, I just want to get that over with.
That was beautiful, Steve.
Thanks. Anyway, okay, I'm going to ask a couple of questions here.
All right.
And I'm going to try to ask questions that are completely out of my own mind.
That's what you were doing on the break. You were thinking about these questions.
I was thinking about questions on the break, and I realized this is our opportunity to ask. Now, I may know the answer to some of these things, but I'd like you guys to just explain it, because maybe there's people listening who don't know, or who are afraid to ask, who don't have gay friends, who don't realize. All right? Yeah. The first thing I'm going to ask is, have you ever...
So never have I ever.
No. I was thinking the same thing. Never have I ever. No. Have you ever considered a sexual relationship with a woman?
Yeah. Actually, I was just talking to a friend on the phone. Actually, just a few days ago, I was hanging up art in my apartment like gay people do. And we were talking about
It's only gay people that hang up art,
Right.
by the way.
Only gay
I have to
people.
call them.
If your
to
friends
hang
have
up my
art in their homes, you need to have a conversation.
Did you hang that yourself? I did.
I have a theory as to why, but we'll get to that in a moment.
But I was just talking to this friend because he had recently gotten out of a relationship and they have now hit fuck buddy status with this girl. And he had thrown it out there because he has nothing to lose. He's like, hey, I would love if you use one of your toys on me. And she's like, oh, that's super great. That's fun. And we had this whole frustration talk about like how a lot of straight guys feel like they can't go anywhere near their asses, even though it's so much fun for everyone. And without feeling like there's like an element of gay in there, like there's a button or something, and if you accidentally hit it, it's like up, we
Oh
did
no,
it.
I love men now.
Exactly.
Oh,
So
it's called the
Yeah.
prostate, and it's more of a lump, not a button.
Exactly. Ooh, it's like a pillowy little slice of magic.
That's why those doctors, when you get over 40 and you got to go to the old doctor there.
Yeah.
They have to be very specially trained to only go around the prostate, not directly on top of it, because that's where the button is.
Mm-hmm. And if
I'm
you
sorry, I
flip
guess I
you're
did that upside
doomed.
down.
Yep.
You're gay. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, we were talking about our frustrations that like guys sort of they carry that idea, or that like they won't let their girlfriends go near their ass, or blah 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 blah, or like a lot of girls won't do it because they think it's a gay thing. And on the flip side, I was like, now that I'm 30 and I've had a lot of sex through my life, and I'm kind of
a lot of sex. We can emphasize that.
We can actually, like, it's not really so much about a brag as like a bewildered, like I'm rubbing my forehead right now. Like it's been a lot of sex.
God damn,
and I'm into it.
Sex.
But as I've been living in the city and kind of redefining like what masculinity and femininity and like what's okay and what's sexy, like everything is sort of turning into this weird mishmash of like reinterpretations, and I'm getting a lot fruitier and more relaxed, and I give less of a shit now in my life. So I'm like, if I met a beautiful bomb ass, probably Indian, like a beautiful Indian woman with long curtain black hair down to her knees, I'm like, yeah, if the energy was right, like I've met a couple women in my life where I'm like, there's something so like magical and interesting about you, and I feel like we could really fuck and have a great time. And I don't know what that would be like, or if I would need to like pull the ripcord all of a sudden and be like, nah, but
escape.
I feel like I probably could, as long as the energy's right and everyone's cool and we're all having a good time and we're probably doing some drugs. And yeah, fuck it, whatever.
Look at alarms start going up.
Right. I think it'd be really
can't
neat.
do it.
She would have to smell right. I'm not talking like vaginally specifically. I'm talking like your skin, your hair, like everything about you as a person just has to smell right. If you smell right, I can totally work with it.
Guy has the most amazing sense of smell I've ever seen on another human being. He can actually tell when women are having their time of month.
All sorts of things about people. And like I've broken up with guys because it's like, can't do your smell, can't do like your thing.
Good. Does this smell infected to you?
So with
Does it
the
smell
women,
like
though,
almonds?
would you go vaginally or would you go straight anal with him?
That's a good question, because I've always wanted to do the both sides of the same story shebang, brought to you by Kilt Lifter. Lifting skirts again on women, and that story's coming. I would want to go for it because, like, if I'm there, like, let's do it. Like, let's go whole hog. Let's find the little man in the canoe. Let's rock this shit. Like, and to be perfectly honest, I think I would be really great at it. Straight guys always have this whole like comedy routine thing, like, oh, and it's figuring out the vagina. I'm like, okay, look, like it can't be that complicated. Like,
It isn't.
like it can't be. So one of these days I'll find out for
isn't.
myself, and I'll be like, see.
So you know what you'd be doing? You'd be doing the Lord's work.
I can do
there.
it. You could do
Doing
it.
the Lord's work. That's exactly it.
And then just to swing back for a second here, just wanted to state, because I made a comment about how I have a theory on why you always think of like designers and so forth as gay. Mm-hmm. Oh, your gay guys make the best designers. They have the best fashion choices. They have the best, they're the best at all the creative things.
You ever watch Project Runway?
I have watched Project Runway,
gone.
but I believe, now my theory is on that the straight guys have such a stigma of football, sports, manliness, that we can't get past the sociological impact of thinking in a beautiful artistic way because that's less manly.
That's probably accurate.
We almost don't allow them to or give them permission.
So therefore you have that section of society which doesn't give a shit about being manly, and that's why you're the designers.
Yeah.
Don't allow the masculine men to explore the animus, the feminine side of the masculine personality.
Which I think is important for everybody. I think men, women, whomever, wherever you lie on the spectrum, whatever you're doing, like everyone should explore their masculinity and femininity to the extent at which they feel like they need to. People, it's really unfortunate that people feel really like turned away from exploring themselves and what they're about.
I like show tunes.
Yeah, I watched Project Runway with Heather all the time.
Objectively gay.
I like the first Twilight book.
Yes, you did.
I threw that out the window of a moving car.
You like the first Twilight movie.
I was reading the book and
you said book.
I was building up to the sparkles and she was building it up like crazy. And when he stepped into the sun, I'm like, something crazy's got to happen. When they started to sparkle, I remember I was with my friend Matt and I'm like, no, fuck this. And I rolled the window down and I threw the book out and he was so pissed. He's like, I'm going to get a ticket, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that's garbage. So I'm putting it where it belongs. I can't do it.
All right.
I can't.
Right, next question.
Hold on, I got one thing I got to
sparkle.
I got one thing I got to bring up about this because, earlier when you were discussing how straight men are so afraid to do anything with their anus sexually. I think there's an extreme story that I have read on the internet that kills me every fucking time I hear it. It's on Reddit. This woman says, I've been with my now fiance for about 2 years, and he when we very first started dating, we would have sex, and he was always very careful to keep the lights turned off and very careful about where I put my hands and things. And she said that like he always had a certain smell in his lower region that was not pleasant, and she assumed it was because he worked in a refinery. She's like, I think it's just the smell of oil in the refinery that he worked at and things. And shortly before they got engaged, he was sitting on the edge of the bed and she was giving him a blowjob, and he got up when he was done and he had left a giant smear on the bed. And she said, oh, hey, there was a problem here. And she, cleaned up the sheets and everything. And so they got engaged and moved in with each other. And she began to notice that he left stains in almost everything, on all of his underwear, on like some of his pants. And she finally said something to him about it. She said, hey, maybe you need to do a little bit better job cleaning up there. Or, maybe you need to wash it when you're in the shower just a little bit more, and he said, no, that's what makes you gay.
What?
And she said, what? And he said, well, if you can't wipe your butt, you can't wipe inside the crack on your butt because your finger might go in your butthole. And that's what makes gay people gay.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And she said, what? And he said, that's what happens. And she said, well, you could wash it in the shower. He's like, no, because what if your finger went in there? You'd be gay. And I don't want to be gay. I love you. I want to get married.
Oh my God.
That's like the girls at BYU who were all freaked out that holding hands was going to get you pregnant.
But soaking it was all right.
Soaking it's fine.
You can soak it.
Yeah, you can soak it.
As long as there's no movement, you're fine.
There's no thrusting. Jesus is fine with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
But every time somebody brings that up, like, straight guys won't play with their butthole, that story pops into my head because I'm like, that is the most extreme case. Please continue, Steve.
But moving on to the next.
How do you get that stain out of a leather sofa? Do you know?
Asking for you don't. You buff it in. That's why everything in my apartment is leather, baby.
Right.
Buff it in.
There's the answer. There's the answer from last week. You buff it in. Perfect.
You buff it in.
That's a gorgeous brown leather sofa. Thanks. It used to be white.
Once upon a day.
So next question I have for the community of listeners Never
Right.
mind your
I was
community.
like,
I just wanted to straighten that one out right there.
That's where you go with that.
We've been using the term, Kyle's term, LGBTQ plus.
Oh God.
What does queer mean? Why is it not covered under lesbian or gay? Where does queer fall in?
Well, back in the day,
Your
back
understanding
in
of
like the 70s, when it was still like the homophile movement, and the gay movement at large was targeted more. It wasn't so much like tackling issues as it was like, we just want people to know that like we're out here and everyone can be whatever they want to be. And it's a positive thing and it's good for people. The entire LGBTQ plus community was covered under the great and glorious umbrella of queer. It's like, you know,
we're queer, get used to it.
yeah, exactly. You've got like, you know, pretty much like binary regular folk in big air quotes who like, you know, have families and who are doing their things, like people who feel comfortable in the bodies they were born into and like the opposite sex, and it's fine and it works fine for them. And that's great. And it does work fine for most of the people on the planet. That's sensational. Awesome. And for everyone else, you're queer. You queer. You know, it's like you got something queer going on.
Queer.
Personally, and this is me personally as a human, I think it is in a lot of ways more encompassing and sensitive and healthier for people, because I feel like we've been starting to see a lot of like over labeling in a way. Like people are getting very, very scientific and so like down to the needle about things that are very organic. We're carbon-based life forms, you know, we're petri dishes. It's not as black and white and as structured and screwed down and categorized as everyone wants to make it. For me, queer works fine. You know,
that actually goes into one of the things that bothers
down.
me as well about the whole situation. Now, again, as we've discussed previously on the other episode, I don't care. But what bothers me is the over analyzing of it. Well, I'm not gay, but I'm gay, so I want another letter thrown in there.
Yeah.
And it just gets to the point where it's like, look, you're gay or you're not. Like, you're lesbian or you're not. You're
I'm
queer
gay,
or you're
not
I'll go
gay.
with
I'm
queer.
gay-ish.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that we have started to see evolve a lot more in the last 10 or 15 years as gay people have become more mainstream, as we've gotten more rights, as we've been recognized more legally. I think that, you know, people, because it's become mainstream, I feel like a lot of people no longer want to be part of that because they enjoy the outsiderness, they enjoy the otherness of it. And now it's become too common.
Accepted?
Exactly. So it's like, why would, you know, people are actually turned off by the idea of like, well, I could be gay. Well, I am gay, but I don't want to get married and have, you know, adopt kids and live in the suburbs and, you know, have that life. And you don't have to, obviously. I mean, you can live your own life, do whatever the fuck you want. But a lot of people now have that ingrained in their brain as like, oh, that's what I have to do now. So they begin coming up with other things and they're like, well, I'm gay, but I'm like poly gay is one that I've heard, which is people who specifically are interested in gay relationships with multiple partners at the same time, which is fine. You know, again,
it's a lot of work.
No
I was
problem
there
with
for a bunch of years. Like it's a lot of work.
Again,
it's a lot of fun. It
no
can
problem
be really
with
rewarding.
it, but I don't understand why it has to be another term. Why can't you just say I'm gay and I have 4 partners?
Yeah, exactly.
Or, you know, what was the other one the other day that was
term
weird?
for a straight person with multiple partners?
Yeah, just
polyamorous.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yahuwah.
we do need to talk about that really quick. There is a difference between somebody who's polyamorous and somebody who's a whore.
I've watched Sister Wives.
There you go.
I think I happen to be both, as it were. Like,
But to me, I think that that's really a large part of it is people just want to compartmentalize themselves. They want to put themselves into a bin so that they can say, this is what I am, when it needs to be a broader term.
And just a subset of that too, another thing that pisses me off, and I don't know how you guys are going to feel about this, and I'm interested in hearing it. The gender identification thing when it comes to official documents. People that refuse to put male or female on their driver's license, for example. Well, I mean, okay, you're gay, but you have a penis. So therefore, if it comes to the document which helps you get identified legally or helps you get a passport or something
or
like
helps
that.
you with something medical that might be specific to your
Yes.
body, like knowing if you have a uterus might actually be helpful.
Correct.
Because while gender is, what is it? Sex is
Fluid.
sociological and gender is it's
Psychological.
or yeah. No, I had those backwards. The sex is the thing. Your sex is your sex is your sex.
Sex
you
is-
know,
sex is
There it is.
biological.
That's what I was trying to
Gender
I'm like,
is psychological.
yeah, that whole it all
Or
got
sociological,
mixed up.
depending on who you ask.
Exactly. The raw science behind it, it's like, yeah, most people fit into one or the other. Some people are biologically in between a lot more, but to like omit the information just because you feel like you shouldn't provide it. It's like, but yeah, if you're a male and you have a penis, like what, like it also helps other people identify you. Like it's
and if you're really unhappy
can
about
be
it,
really frustrating.
there's a procedure which
Yeah.
can correct that. And then you could put down on the driver's license, because this way, if you get into that car accident and the emergency response team looks at you and says, oh, there's blood on the pants. It's okay. Says here that it might be a female.
And again, it's a very difficult subject because for a lot of people, the reason why people choose to do that is because it helps them personally to begin identifying with the gender that they want to be. But I totally agree with you that if there are, medical situations that arise that, if, like Guy said, if somebody has a uterus and they are in some type of a situation where medically a doctor needs to know that and they can't tell them, that's a problem.
Yeah.
But it's a weird quagmire that we're in right now, because for so long it's been identified as a binary, a male and a female.
Right.
And now we need to begin to come up with some type of a term, some type of an explanation that you can put there that covers other people, that covers.
But we're talking at this point about your choice, what you prefer, what you like to go for, but not your medical actual existence. There's no choice there. You were born there's a choice, but the choice involves a procedure. You may not be able to afford that procedure. I can't afford LASIK. I need glasses. I don't think I'd get it anyway. I'm scared of that.
Yeah, it doesn't.
thing.
It doesn't last that long anyway.
Yeah, I'm old.
Maybe 10 years.
10 to 12 years. Yeah. Heather had it.
It is a really tricky
life.
place because I think people are also seeing so much of it going on, and they're starting to feel like it's not okay to just be comfortable in the body that you're in, or that like people are starting to push to a lot of extremes over it. When a lot of this, it kind of goes back to the term queer. It does need to be a broader sort of general understanding that like, yeah, these things exist and they're usually case by case by case. And you need to figure out what's going on with yourself and how you identify, because if you don't, other people are really going to start making up your mind for you. And it's tricky.
Well,
It's all kind of tricky.
I want you to know how proud I am that I came up with a couple of good questions there.
Right?
I'm so
It's a bizarre
myself on the
dynamic.
back right now.
There's a weird dynamic going on now that that's a terrible term, but you're allowed to marry in most states now.
Well, all states.
Is it,
now,
is it federal now?
It is federal
Okay.
now, yeah.
And now people are more like, okay, great. You got your wish. Now go live in the suburbs and have babies. Like there isn't any other element
Yeah.
to it. Like, because that's what straight people do. We all just immediately get married, have babies, and that's it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, it's frustrating, like knowing, whoa, I can't hear myself anymore. Weird. My brother-in-law, the same way. It's just, he's like, why does it have to be like one way or the other way? Why is there no, I can just live my life the way I want to live my life, however
Exactly.
it happens to be. And it's just it's a weird dynamic. I feel like instead of you were at this level of the playing field, and instead of like being given all of this to play with, it was like, no, you're
Immediately
You're at
polarized.
this side,
Yeah.
and there's nothing in between, and that's a bizarre dynamic.
I think some, not all, just some, you ho who you are. Oh, ludicrous. Speaking of hoes,
You are.
I think a lot of gay guys fall quickly into the idea that they need to get married and start families and lead what they would call a heteronormative lifestyle.
Oh, that's an interesting term. See, you did say there'd be some interesting heteronormative.
Nice. As a way to emulate the breeders is what the queens would say. It's like you're just trying to look like them, sound like them, and walk like them so they'll be less threatened by you so you can fit in and you're not being your truest, most sensational, like queer self. And like that has
Fabulous
caused
self.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who like really feel that way and feel like there is a big divide in the community of people who are like trying to go through the motions just to be more accepted and to like take the brunt off themselves to make it easier for themselves. And that's like how they see it. Mm-hmm. I don't personally see it that way. I think like, especially now, marriage for everyone is something that you really only listen. I can live in the middle of South Dakota and have every fucking thing I need in the world droned to me. I don't need anyone. No one needs anyone. We can just like be little islands and totally walled off. Marriage is something different for everybody, and relationships are something different for everybody, gay, straight, or otherwise.
You'd be, just a side note, you'd be very surprised the gay community that exists in South Dakota.
Really?
Yeah, very.
Steve lived in Sioux Falls.
Tell him more.
Yeah, tell me more about these South Dakota gays. Are you out there? Are you listening?
Actually,
Is it a tribe?
Few of them.
South Dakota gays?
I was not aware. I had not really. In Sioux Falls, South Dakota, there's a really nice downtown area. Very pretty artsy. You know, it's a revitalization downtown.
We're on a boat. That's the ship
thing.
turning over.
That's the sanctum door. But I was busy doing my thing with the company I was working for. I didn't really get out very much. I didn't pay much attention. And then as things were winding down, for one reason or another, there was a theater group that was performing down in downtown Sioux Falls that needed audio help. A friend of mine couldn't do it. He put my name in there. I went down to go check it out. Oh my God, where have you all been? I would have been hanging down here the whole time because these are this is great.
We're a fun bunch.
Is there some kind of relationship between the theater and homosexuality that you're suggesting here?
Yeah, what kind of tie are you?
Yes.
Connecting them?
Yes, there is.
And like this?
I'm
no
incredibly
more wiggling, but yes.
I'm incredibly shocked. I'm incredibly shocked on a regular basis that the production that we work on does not have a higher percentage.
Are you talking technician or artist?
Artist.
Oh, it's higher than you think.
Yeah.
No, I know it's high.
It usually is.
But it is not Broadway high.
Oh, no, that's true.
That's true.
There are more straight dancers on our show than I expect. And if you go downtown to Broadway,
we're going down.
If you're a straight dancer, you're a lucky guy.
Yeah. You know, because you're a little thorn amongst the roses.
Exactly. That's like when
you're
I used
a rare bird.
That's like when I used to be in ballet.
No shit.
Way back.
Yeah, way back. I was a kid. I was in, I started in tap, and then I moved to ballet, and then I hit puberty.
Oh,
and it was all over.
And
Yep.
Slurpy Legs McGee.
Saw the next door neighbor's boobs and everything. I don't want to do ballet
Wow, look at
anymore.
those.
Well,
I took jazz when I was
felt
younger.
it was that whole society thing. I felt, I'd go to school, people were going to make fun of me because I'm in a ballet, blah, blah, blah. So I stopped. However, looking back now, I could have been doing so good for myself.
So good.
I would have been, yes, so good.
No, you don't.
But
you just don't have a ballet look to me.
I've let myself go. hold on here.
2-2 turned into a 4-4.
Wait.
I think it's a beard.
He's going up on point, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Yes.
Yeah. Nice plie.
Nice.
Huh?
I like that we all knew there was a plie.
Classic fifth
I
position.
know we all
Yeah,
do.
fifth.
Classic fifth position.
Well, so that
Fifth
brings up a good question, Steve, that I actually had written down over here. How many industries are almost entirely reliant on gay people, but don't want to admit it?
Okay, do you want
Probably wedding planning.
Theater's a big one.
Well, do you want my first initial opinion to that?
Yes.
I don't think any industry is reliant upon anyone's gender choices one way or the other. I think
put you in your place, Kyle.
I think the fact that, as we discussed earlier, homosexuality tends to lose the masculinity.
Okay.
So therefore, you're able to show more creativity without persecution per se. And you end up winding into these, what's the word I'm looking for?
More creative and expressive fields.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I think the people that sell the glow-in-the-dark jockstraps do rely on the gay
Right.
community.
And a lot of the masculinity in the gay community.
You wouldn't wear one, Billy?
I was wearing one.
I'm getting
right
one
now.
for all of you guys for Christmas.
I'll wear it
We're
to
gonna
work.
we're gonna do a
hell
jockstrap
yeah.
episode where
Oh.
everybody.
well gear.
I'm gonna buy one for everybody, and we're gonna wear them.
Literally.
We'll have to get that one. We'll have to get the camera set up for
I
that
think
one.
so.
They're not
that-
too expensive too. They might be like $60 for a
no
light up
problem.
jockstrap. They do like multiple colors and like flashing patterns and
Yeah,
stuff.
dim the lights in here. We'll just
Do you want to continue on a little bit with this question? Because I think there are a lot of industries, like theater for one. I know there are a lot of gay people in theater.
Yes.
the hell you say?
Yeah, right. I'm surprised.
The gay porn industry probably.
The gay porn industry
that might
is
maybe.
very big.
Oh, those are specific.
In more than one way.
Yeah.
Fashion,
Fashion is a big one.
movies.
What do you want to work
Film
at bait and tackle?
is huge. Acting is very big.
I love their billboards.
But don't forget the visual arts, color god.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Caligad.
Yeah, but
Caligad.
where I was specifically going with this was, are there any that are like niche,
Cops?
like cops,
Let me show you
construction workers,
Yeah.
Native Americans?
Yep, there it is.
Wait, that's not an industry.
Oh, damn it.
Sailors,
Sailors.
Sailors, seamen,
Sailors.
everywhere.
Indian chiefs.
Speaking of, I live on Seaman Avenue. Little fun fact.
Wow.
What? When I
Did
found
you
my-
plan
Did
that?
you do that on
Nope.
purpose?
When I found my apartment, they were like, "It's on Seaman Avenue." I'm like, "Of course it is.
Sold.
I already have the
know-
place."
I know
Like I just
exactly
knew it.
where you are then because I used to do work up on the cloisters.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm a 10-minute walk from the cloisters.
Beautiful.
Oh, look at that.
Castle in the middle of Manhattan.
Hey, what was the name of the city you grew up in?
New York,
No.
Ossining.
Is there a back
Ossining?
alley?
Ossining.
Ossining, New
Near
York.
Sing Sing Prison.
Yeah, 30 miles up the Hudson. I
Well, there
grew,
you go.
I grew up, I could stand on my back porch and look at the wall of Sing Sing.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's pretty neat.
So I lived far enough to be out of the city, but yet I could travel down, play, work.
There's something to that.
It's only a half hour out of it. So I had trees.
Hell, living in Inwood, I feel like I'm in BFE. So
The cloisters. Huh?
ridiculous.
Is there a bunch of nuns in the cloisters?
No.
No, just medieval art.
Medieval art. It's
Artworks.
it's actually a castle that was
Really?
imported from, I cannot remember now, but they imported an actual castle,
Brick by brick.
stone by stone, and rebuilt
amazing.
the castle on this hill. And it's kind of creepy because you're in the middle of Manhattan. You walk through, there's some trees, it's a park, and all of a sudden, bam, there's a freaking castle sitting over here.
What park?
Inwood Hill Park
Thank you.
and Fort Tryon.
Okay.
And to get there, you had to go, eventually you will end up on the West Side Highway, which is filled with all older versions of the West Side Highway off to the side, all the old structures and so forth.
And all those old structures and trees and heavily wooded areas and shit are supposed to be fantastic places to go cruising in the morning. So you go down, you walk your dog, you bang some guys in the bushes. No shit. Like all of my friends who I talk to, I'm like, I just moved to Inwood.
Well-
and they pull open my Google Maps. They're like,
Kyle
okay, this
wants
little
to go to
trail
New
right
York.
here. They're like, you can go on this little trail, but only at like 7 a.m. That's when it's good. And this trail over here, like my friend was just like, "Bup, bup, 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 bup." I'm like,
pamphlet.
yeah. I'm like, are you a fucking ornithologist? Like how many, God
You like drop
damn.
a thumbtack on your Google Maps for that, like there.
I did actually. I'm like, yeah, I'll go and see that. I'll check that out. Yeah, why not? I'll walk
Tap your
around,
toe 3 times. on
wink
the
at some
bench.
Drop a
gentlemen.
pin right here.
It's all very, what is it, Polari?
Polar.
Was that the special gay language in England in the 60s?
I
The
can't
code?
remember.
Come on, nerd.
Yeah, I should know that. but I don't off
Nerds.
the
I
top
think it
of-
was Polari.
Does every group do that? Like, I mean, the early Catholics ended up drawing those fish things on walls to let people know they were meeting.
Ixkis.
Kind of. It's sort of, a lot of gay culture came out of hobo culture, actually.
Yeah.
Like even the word
Yes.
gay came out of like hip cat, which turned to gay cat, where you would have like an older hobo who mentored like a younger hobo in being able to like figure out which houses were friendly towards homeless people and would give them food and
being able to hobo,
and
basically.
being able to hobo, they dropped the bow and just it
Hoe.
turned to straight hoe to hoeing, which is what you see before you on your couch in your garage right now. Plus Billy.
So gay doesn't mean
and
happy.
Billy.
Are you a hoe, Billy? It's okay. We're all friends here.
I do not garden.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Not,
So when does the term gay turn from happy to
yeah, to a
Gay.
merry fella.
yeah?
Well, I mean, look at us. We're gay. We're kind of smiling all the time. We got cute hair. I'm wearing pink fucking stripes. Like, this is gay.
Right.
It's fine. It's cute. It's gay.
Oh, I thought it was blue and gold.
But what about Kyle?
Did it used to be white and you just
What
watched
about
it with
Kyle?
some red?
What about Kyle? It's just got like a standard gray
Gray shirt.
t-shirt on.
That's
Kyle
Kyle,
has
though.
always been a fantastically no frills gay. A man of
Yeah.
Practicalities.
But you're asking where the term gay came from. That's like asking the derogative term faggot
Yeah.
actually means a bundle of twigs.
Yeah. And you know why that got picked up, right?
I thought that was
I
like
did
a
not.
cigarette in England.
That too.
in the medieval times when they used to burn witches, they would actually throw gay people on the same fire, but because you had been committing homosexual acts, it was actually so horrible in the eye of the church.
What else floats on water?
Pretty much, yeah. You got thrown underneath the fire, down with the faggots. So
Is that
true? Is that where that came from?
that is supposedly where that came from. Yes.
Plus, all gay people are so fucking dry that they just right like that. That's also where the tune
Burst into flames.
We're
came
soaked in
from.
alcohol and
Right.
just very dry. So
Is that where flaming?
On that same
came
note,
from?
gay cruises will
I wouldn't be
typically take
surprised.
a third of the food that a regular cruise will take and 3 times the amount of alcohol. And most of the food still gets thrown out at the end of said cruise. And they usually run out of alcohol in like the last day. I was looking at statistics somewhere a little while back. I'm like, that's sickening.
I saw a
waste
picture.
of food.
And gay people,
from
they drink, baby.
I know you. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I saw a picture from a gay fetish cruise a couple of weeks ago on the internet that made me so uncomfortable because it was this picture of an outside, like they have like the amphitheater on the back of the boat. And there were probably 1,500 men all wearing some form of like a leather harness and a jockstrap, all crammed in this theater watching an aerialist perform. It was so packed together that I was just looking at the picture. I was like, that would be my most uncomfortable situation in my entire life.
God, I'd be scared.
That many people that close together on a boat, I would have a freak out.
Yeah, I'd need a lot of drugs to handle that.
So much semen.
So many semen.
Matthew is dumbfounded.
I have a question.
Ask the question.
All right. So
I can't believe you'd ask that
is
question.
Does it come in blue?
gaydar?
Yeah.
Is it real? Because so
If I'm close enough to smell you, I can tell.
oh,
Sorry, you got the nose.
Yeah.
Did you just wink at Billy?
I did.
so my wife Heather and I are
wife.
big fans of the Grey's Anatomy program, and you're watching it and like that gay guy spots another gay guy from across the room and they've never met yet. Somehow they know instantly from across the room.
If the eye contact is more than 2 seconds.
Really? Because I could stare at you. I ain't no problem.
Yeah, you could. But it's like if you look at a guy and like the eye contact continues for a solid second, then it's like they might be gay. If it's like 2 seconds uninterrupted, no one's blinking, and like your shoulders don't move at all, you're probably going to wind up fucking. It's like,
Did you just refer to it as a program? The Grey's Anatomy program?
I'm an old man.
Just say, okay, grandpa.
Okay, I'm an old man.
you're learned, man.
When we put the DVR on,
Oh, you should go to pictures.
when the kids shut up,
Yeah, it's totally a real
started.
thing. And gay face is totally a real thing. Sometimes, like,
yeah.
your brother or sister pops out like the cutest little niece or nephew. And by the time they hit like 3 or 4, you're like, look at them. They got a gay face. And it's like some like kids just have it. Like some people just have gay face. You see them in a crowd and you're like, that's a gay person. That is just gay
I didn't know
face.
that was a term.
No, so
yeah,
gay
gay
face.
face is a real fucking
Right.
thing.
So again, my wife's
my wife.
brother, my brother-in-law.
My wife's brother.
We knew. Like I said it out loud to Heather when he was 5. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he's gay. And she's like,
And people
"What?"
get so offended by that. You're
Right,
like,
yeah.
look at him. Look at
And-
him.
right, I'm
Look at
like-
a little queer.
And he even said, he's like, oh yeah. I'm like, right? Am I right?
Am I right?
Like, how did you
Am I
know? I'm
right?
like, don't know.
Am I right?
Just had a feeling, had a sense.
Yeah.
Mm.
Sometimes you just see it. And it's like, it's funny because there are people out there who feel that they may not actually be gay had people not like projected that sort of expectation or like, that's a gay kid. So they're like, what's wrong with me? What's different with me? I do know some people who have wondered like, would I still be gay? And I'm like, still be gay. Like you just,
That's when they,
no
they
avoiding it.
make like and the dick comes out of the mouth. And they're like, do you think I'd still be gay if my dad? No, you get that back in there.
I'm like, shut up. I'm not paying you to fucking ask me questions.
Here's a question for you along these lines, loosely related.
I'm not paying you to think.
The way most gay men talk, taking Kyle out of this conversation because
I'll just step back. From
he's the most
You guys do the
nondescript.
droopy voice. So
What do you mean the way most gay men talk?
gay people.
No,
You have a problem with my voice?
I actually have a working theory or some knowledge based on this, but I'm going to ask it for those people that are listening out there.
Hey, hot stuff. Why don't you free the snake under the table?
Should I put it back? It doesn't come off, Kyle.
Oh my God, that's the loudest zipper I've ever heard. Is that like a gate opening?
Barn doors.
So the question is the lisp, the tone. Why is that so common amongst gay men?
Yeah, what the fuck is up with that?
Okay.
I mean, I would still be crazy and obnoxious and fruity whether or not I was a big old homosexual or not. And I've often I don't get it because I've met guys who before they came out of the closet, you know, they seem very comfortable, very relaxed, like their mannerisms, their voice, like whatever they're doing. And then they really kick that closet door down and it just like, it kind of wells up out of them. And I'm like, maybe it's because they felt so repressed for so long, but it's like, it's also maybe it's just an easy identifier and you don't have to necessarily come out to people if they can hear you like hissing from across the parking lot.
Well, I was about to say,
Like,
I think it's a...
I think it's advertising. It's like, hey boys.
It's sort of like I don't know how to describe this. So many other gay men were like that in the past that it became an identifier. And so when you are growing up and you're like, well, what's a gay person? And you look and you see that stereotype, you begin to adopt those mannerisms.
Paul Lind on Hollywood Squares.
Exactly.
I think that's more of the gays that like dress like girls and stuff as well.
Well, the logic that I've heard given for it, in all honesty, I'm going to answer my own question.
Well, that's weird.
I have one more theory about it too. So.
Much like an accent. Okay, you get you
There
take
you
on
go.
an accent because you're surrounded by people that speak the same way. So once you leave there, it's the same thing. You're in that community. You hang out with people in that community because those are the people you're most comfortable with. This is the way it started.
Yeah.
Okay, and the people in that community were a little more flamboyant. They were a little more artistic. They might have exaggerated certain things. You picked it up. And it became an accent.
Yeah.
However, like you're saying now, to a certain point, it's become something that's expected almost. So
Yeah.
people use it as an identifier.
Yeah. And it could be a colloquial shift, like you said. It could be that like suddenly getting the back of your throat rammed by multiple dicks changes the shape of your soft palate and literally creates
It's funny you
an accent.
brought that up because that's exactly what I was just about to say.
Really?
Tell me.
I'm not gay at all.
Maybe I'm just a little bit gay.
Fucked up the inside of my head.
Okay, guillotine.
It could also be that, like, you know, if I roll into work and I say, Linda,
guillotine.
you look like fucking shit
I like that.
and you need to get it together. It sounds a lot less mean if I'm like, Linda, you sort of look like shit and you got to get it together.
That's what I
like,
feel.
you know, maybe it's a way to sugarcoat
Linda.
all of the
Linda,
things
so
you
there's
want to
It
say.
softens it a
Bless
little
her
bit.
heart.
Yeah.
It does. It softens it.
Yeah,
You're
it softens everything you have to say because people turn to their gay friends to be like, do I look fat in this? And you're like, yes. Or yes. Like if you know, you give it a little lisp and it's like, I still
guess
look
that
fat in
does
this,
help.
but I don't feel as bad about it. Thanks for being a friend. It's like, you're welcome.
Yeah, right. If I told
Yeah.
my friend, hey, you're fat, oh, she'd hate me. But if you
But it's
told
like,
my friend,
yeah, it's like, you're looking a little zufty.
oh, do I?
Yeah. Which speaking of Brooklyn terms, I heard zufty the other day. Now I can't drop it because this grandma who said boys like a zufty girl. And I'm like, yeah, they do, grandma. Yeah, they do.
Zufty.
I like a little zuffed. Little zuffed.
Would you like to take a break, Steve? Let's come back for one more segment. I saw you checking your watch.
I just want to know what time it was.
Yeah, I think we should do
bullshit.
that. Let's take one more quick break.
take one break.
Come back for a short
I'll
segment.
sip
There you
this official sponsor. Sponsor. My official
Sponsor.
sponsor. Bill. Lifto.
We'll be back after this.
We'll be back after these messages from God only knows what.
See him step all over me like
Yeah,
that?
that was nice. I liked
No,
it.
no, take it. God.
Forget it.
We'll
I
be
don't
right
want it.
back.
I don't want it now.
We'll be back.
Oh my! Hey, Dad, I'm hungry for something.
Anything in particular, son?
I don't know. What do we have?
Well, how about a big bowl of the Talkaround
Talkaround Show breakfast cereal. It's got all the filler with absolutely no valuable content whatsoever.
I love the Talkaround Show cereal. All the sugary little Kyles, the tart little Matthews, the bits of Billy and Randy, and even the snarky Steve Fluffs. It really starts my day off right, filling my belly with entertainment while keeping my head feeling clear of potentially valuable knowledge.
Well, that settles it. A big bowl of satirical goodness it is. And son, don't forget, the Talkaround Show can be consumed any time of day when you need that little entertainment boost. It even makes a great snack before bed for those times you really need your brain to dumb itself down so you can sleep better.
The Talkaround Show breakfast cereal, made with 100% organic chemical ingredients and absolutely no preservatives, as there's nothing to preserve. Available wherever your favorite podcasts are served and online at thetalkaroundshow.com.
Hey son, save some for me. The Billy Bits are my favorite.
Thank you for listening to the Talkaround Show. We're proud to announce that we are fundraising for the Trevor Project, and would be honored if you would visit our fundraising page, which can be found via our website at thetalkaroundshow.com. Please take a moment to visit thetrevorproject.org for more on what this great charity is doing and what it hopes to achieve. Thank you again. Now back to the Talkaround Show.
This will be my greatest performance. Here we go. We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
All right, everybody, we're back after that break. Welcome to the return of the Big Gay Q&A on the Talkaround Show, our final segment. Let's start to wrap things up here so that we can all go on with our normal lives, and you can continue with your commute, and all the laughter that's ensuing will cease, causing you to drive off the side of the road.
We hope.
Perfect.
So, guy, you've been drinking Kilt Lifter all day, and you keep saying there's a Kilt story. We got to hear the Kilt story.
So I've been throwing back these Kilt Lifters because they're fucking delicious. Be a sponsor. And as I was listening to the podcast, getting ready to come and talk to you guys,
I like this guy.
They were talking about Kilt Lifter, and I immediately laughed to myself because I was coming in to do the Big Gay Q&A, and I was recalling the absolute moment it happened. Because since I moved to New York City, I was kind of an old lady through my 20s. I didn't really go out much. And,
you did have a wig and a muumuu, which I thought was
did
weird.
have a wig and a muumuu. Spectacular. I never should have burned those.
In fact, you stole that wig from my mother.
I did actually, and I still have it.
Go ahead.
It's a merkin now.
That's a real thing, by the way. So I finally started going out and really like getting my hands like into the gay culture, like the kind of gays that like your parents warn you about.
Elbow deep.
Like, yeah. And like these dances and scenarios where you always hear, you know, like guys going out and dancing till like 8 a.m. and like crazy clubs and dark rooms. And like, so my friend and I, for Halloween, we decided to just kind of go with whatever we could muster before the dance. And we wound up putting on kilts and doing this like Furioso, like kind of Blade Runner looking makeup thing. So we look like gay robo Scotsmen from the future. It was kind of outrageous. And we showed up to this dance called Alegria, which is spectacular. And it's one of our favorite dances in the city.
Wasn't that a...
It's a dance. It's a dance.
Okay.
Not what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And as we show up, I mean, we get through the doors and my acid starts to peak. Little disclaimer at this point, we were on about 2 tabs of acid because it's Halloween. So it's like, yeah, let's, melt our faces off a little bit. And
as one does.
as the dance is going and starting to churn up, we throw a little Molly on top of it because we're responsible adults, and who doesn't love a candy flip? So as we really start to go through the roof, they start playing fucking Purple Disco Machine. And in the craziest, most bizarre, we're like dancing over the bar at this point. Like we're literally up like right above the bar. There was no guardrail, no nothing. Had one of us fallen, we would have killed one of the bartenders and smashed 1 billion bottles of shit and like really ruined 30 minutes of the night before they got it up and running again. So we're watching the crowd as they're playing Purple Disco Machine and that song, Music Make Me Lose Control. And everyone is throwing their heads back and like chanting along with it. And we're watching this crowd. And it was the most amazing moment as I took a big old hit of my poppers. And there'd be no point in me being here unless it was a nice depraved story. But my friend is dancing in front of me and I'm watching his kilt swish. It's the most beautiful hypnotic thing. And I kind of reach up underneath and he's not wearing underwear. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. We're here. We live once. Everyone can see us because it's like, we're clearly like displayed above the bar. So I hike up his kilt and I shove my face in his ass. And as we dance and the madness ensues, as one does, it was the most sensational experience of my life. It was, yes, that's my jam. That's what was going. And I'm completely lost in the fucking moment. I'm having so much fun. And as I pull my face, which is hermetically sealed to his ass, away, I turn to the left. And there is one of the attendants, the people like who actually work for the venue, who looked exactly like Gabri Sidibe. And she's got the flattest, most unimpressed, just like, look on her face.
Precious is not happy with you.
And she's looking right at me. And like my pupils are the size of dinner plates. And I've got like, I'm just sweat and I look absolutely fucking crazy. And in that exact moment, I realized as I looked around, I'm like, I don't see the monster in the room. So it's me. I am the gay guy that my parents warned me about when I was growing up. The gay guy my parents feared, the werewolf that they were like, they're out there and they're crazy and they're rimming people in public at the clubs and they don't give a shit. And they're coming for our kids. I'm like, oh my God, it's me. I'm like, I'm the demon. And I got wildly proud because I thought of my little 11-year-old self being like, oh God, I'm probably gay. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. And
And now
it just,
I'm gay.
I'm gay. Right. And it's full circle.
He's the
and
demon
it was
that
all
lives in
right.
semen.
Yep. And she just, and so I gave her the biggest, friendliest smile I could muster and a little wink and blew her a tiny little kiss and then took another hit off my bottle of poppers and proceeded to shove my face back exactly where it had been. And I'm not sure where her night wound up, but I think I gave her a 20 at the end of it.
Oh, that's all right.
So I was like, hey, I hope you're having a fun night. Thanks for being a great attendant. Here's this. This is whatever. Everyone should have a good time. But it's all about becoming the gay guy your parents warned you about.
All I can picture now, though, since you described her as looking like, what was her name again?
Gabri Sidibe?
Yeah, who played Precious. All I can picture her doing is going home and writing in her diary, like, me and was at the bar tonight and saw a man with his head in other man's butt. Have you ever read Precious?
Yeah, right?
No.
It is the most difficult read.
It is hard to read.
Because not only is the subject matter really, really difficult to read about, it is her learning to write while she's writing the book.
Yeah.
And she's cleaned it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, it's so hard to read.
And just as another disclaimer, the Talkaround show does not condone illegal drug use, kids.
Naturally.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Talkaround show does not condone analingus.
Right.
I was about to say, I believe that we do.
I could have sworn that's where it was going to go too. At least like not public analingus. Is a club public? Is a warehouse on the West End Highway public? Whatever.
It depends. What's it used for during the day?
Yeah, to pay a fee to get in.
It's just a big venue where they do music and dancing and
Yeah, you're
shit.
talking about down there by the pier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have
Yeah.
to pay a fee to get in?
Yeah. It was like $100 dance. I was like, I hope this is worth it. Oh my God, was it worth it?
What's the name of that place? The Red Door. Does that still exist?
It
That
might
used to
have
be in
been
that area.
the Red Door.
My
I'm not
favorite
sure.
place. I don't even know if it's still. Actually, it was closed. I don't know if it reopened, but I love the Limelight.
The Limelight is not open. I hear stories. Every time people talk about it, they say, wow, people used to die at the Limelight.
Oh, you did.
Like
Literally.
Queens used to literally fucking hit the floor and die at the Limelight. And
But
I'm
it
like,
was such. It was an old cathedral.
yeah.
It was a cathedral.
Yeah,
that
you
they
told me
turned
Now I
into
think it's like
nightclub.
a gay
it was
soul
gorgeous.
cycle place.
That's
Okay, that fits.
Yeah.
Yeah, has it
Still is
What?
culty.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it? What movie is it that is from? That they feature it pretty heavily in?
Blade.
No,
Talked about that earlier.
it's not Angels in America. It is a. It might be Party Monster.
Where they feature the Limelight?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's Party Monster.
Angels
Anyways.
in America. Such a good play. So long.
So very long. Phenomenal though.
Yeah.
Oi.
Wait, we're 3.5 hours into this and we're going to the intermission. Oh my god!
Oh my God.
The intermission of part 1.
Yeah. All right. Let's. I got one question that I think you guys are going to have to think about this. I'm sorry, Billy. I know I'm going to make you think.
Kyle's going to whip this right out of his breast pocket.
So, For me, I've been in a pretty long-term relationship. But one of the things that you get talking about when you're in a long-term relationship is like, okay, if you get one person that it's like, if you happen to be like somewhere and it's like, oh my God, it's Hugh Jackman and he wants to sleep with you. That's mine. That's my one.
The hall pass?
The hall pass, basically. Yes. But it's a person specific hall pass.
Dressed as Wolverine?
No.
Okay, good.
I'm fine with just Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, we take the regular.
John, he might need to have the sideburns,
He
but
doesn't
that's a
need the
different
top
story.
hat from.
I want the sideburns, the cigar.
What the hell movie was that?
The Prestige.
No.
Oh, Greatest Showman.
That's the
Greatest
one.
Showman. Ooh.
DVD fun fact.
Yeah.
I was part of the crew. I helped make that movie. I was part of the makeup crew.
Oh, so that's him.
Yeah.
That's the same one.
All right.
That is my same friend. Yes.
Yes, he told me about you.
Fox Pictures
We
does
didn't
not
believe the
condone
comment, friends.
analingus. Or
But,
20th century, whoever.
Yeah. So here's my question for you guys, and I will answer this from my perspective. I'm going to make Guy answer from his perspective.
I know where this is headed.
Yeah. What guy would you sleep with? All things, no social stigma attached to it. No, you're not cheating on a significant other. And in mine and Guy's case, what person? And it has to be a celebrity. I'm not talking like, you can't be like,
Do we flip it so it's a female for
yes,
us?
Yeah.
for us, it needs
So
to be
it can't be
a
like,
woman.
The next door neighbor.
Yeah, it can't be like my next door neighbor, Robert. He's a nice guy, and he looks like he has a tight butt. He does a lot of workouts in his garage.
What if he borrows barbecue?
Yeah, because I'll tell you what, I have a. This is weird, and I have. This has been the same answer I've had since I was a teenager. Margaret Thatcher. Everybody, early 80s, fucking height of her power, Margaret Thatcher. Like, I'm in command. No, I am dead serious. I don't know what it is. Just right as she's like
The Iron Lady?
the Iron
The
Lady.
Iron Lady.
I would like to part the Iron Curtain.
I'll bet you would.
It. I don't know why. I
Isn't
don't
it
know.
Iron Curtains?
Iron
Yeah,
Curtains.
Beef curtains?
There's a
Yeah.
guard standing duty right at the top. So.
Back at Beefeater.
I know. That's the look everybody gives me, Steve. The Margaret Thatcher, what the fuck is wrong with you? I don't know what it is. It's the power. It's the...
You gotta do better than that. You gotta do like living. How about living?
Living? Jesus.
It'd
No,
be between
he's
Miriam
not living.
Cotillard
Jesus is
and
not
Kate
living. And
Blanchett.
male, probably. Maybe.
Queen of England.
Are we going... Which way are we working on the table?
Who wants to go next? Because apparently I have to come up with somebody else, and now I'm
Ryan
struggling.
Reynolds.
Ooh.
You know what's funny? I actually thought about Ryan Reynolds when he asked that. I'm like, would it be Seth Rogen or Ryan Reynolds? Seth Rogen would be such fun
I like the
sex.
fact that he's really funny as well. Funny makes people more attractive.
No, does he need to
totally.
be dressed as Deadpool?
No.
Okay.
No,
So
no.
just Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
He'd be so
okay,
cool about it too. He'd be a
sidebar.
great bottom.
Sidebar.
Have you seen the trailer for Detective Pikachu?
Yes, I have.
That's fucking great. So there's a behind the scenes Detective Pikachu where he's being interviewed about how he immersed himself totally in the character.
I have seen that as well.
Right? Laughing my ass.
Is it just him in a
Ryan
Pikachu
Reynolds.
shoot?
No, he's just like standing. He's like, I totally immersed myself and I lost all this weight. And Blake Live is like, it's the same guy. He didn't even change his voice. I mean, he's not even doing anything to his voice at all. It's still Ryan Reynolds.
I tried to slim down to, 18 pounds
18
or whatever.
pounds.
But when I passed out and they took me to the hospital, the doctor said that wasn't a wise idea. So I stayed at 80 whatever pounds.
It's funny as shit. Anyway,
It was
I
pretty good.
just noticed, Matthew, that you have a cage up there
With the fake rat.
with a fake rat in it.
yeah, it's a Halloween decoration.
Okay, anyway.
So what happened to the gerbil?
My wife enjoys
Speaking of the gay
My
Q&A.
wife.
My wife.
My wife. So one of you guys has got to have one, right?
Well, here's the thing with me, and I'm trying to think of an answer to satiate
You
you.
can still say Luke Perry. It's soon enough. He's still warm.
See, my problem is I couldn't even tell you a female celebrity that I
Because
would.
you don't know enough celebrities.
A, I don't know.
Kate
I don't really
Beckinsale.
know enough
Kate Bush.
celebrities. B, I have no interest.
Kate Blanchett.
I'm going to fall into the
All
the A
Kates.
category. I don't care, but I'll think about it. Somebody else.
You think about it.
Kate Moss.
Oh, don't be pussies, you guys. Come on.
Ah,
This again, we've discussed this a little bit. Not a reflection of your masculinity. You can, if you're confident with yourself, you
it can be
say,
George Takei. It's okay.
It could be
probably
Matthew.
I mean, he's got all the
George
experience.
Clooney.
Yeah.
When I was in grade school, it was definitely Johnny Depp.
Ooh.
Like
kind of
So mysterious
21
and
Jump
dark.
Street and Crybaby were like my favorites.
Edward Scissorhands.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But then, yeah,
on Hulu
like
right now, by the
Chris Cornell's definitely number one.
Oh, Chris Cornell.
man crush
Yeah.
of mine.
Yeah, he's handsome. Always had that.
Christian Bale, I think, was.
Okay, you just need one, Billy.
I got
No,
a
you can
few.
do anything if he wants. It's cool. It's cool.
It kind of changes, my taste change.
Depends on the day of the week.
It's got a harem.
As long as you never get to Tommy Lee Jones, then, then we'll have an intervention.
All right, I'll give you one.
I don't care.
I don't know.
Agent K.
Trent Reznor. I'll go with Trent Reznor.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All that long, shaggy black hair coming down on you, being like,
was it?
Trent.
Dark and mysterious.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
He'd have a trash can lid next to the bed that he could hit with a drumstick.
The whole time he's playing his own music.
I listen to a lot of like Nine Inch Nails and stuff like that when I fuck, to be perfectly candid. I'm into that whole like,
That
let's
record is
keep it dark and luscious. Like,
Pretty
all right.
Hate Machine is solid for that.
Dude, yeah, it's
Downward Spiral is the solid one for that.
Really?
closer.
Come on. Yeah.
March of the Pigs.
That seems a little too.
Reptile.
No, Closer seems a little too obvious though.
A little
For that.
bit.
I mean, Pretty Hate Machine's got
Closer is, but Closer could set a good pace.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
Closer could be the opener to the playlist. So it's like,
All right.
yeah,
All
but
right,
you
all
know.
right, all right. What about you?
Pretty Hate Machine. Terrible lie.
You know, I think Miriam Cotillard is like one of the most beautiful things on the planet. So
French.
I could probably go for that. Miriam Cotillard.
From Inception.
And specifically
yes.
from Inception. Yeah, I'd incept it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Inceptification.
maybe
She was in-
twice. I don't know.
Wow,
I
she was in
guess
some
we would
movie
see.
with Brad Pitt. I can't remember what the hell it was called. Some World War II flick.
And the other one. Oh, Rosamund Pike. I think she is so classy. And
Australian lady.
Yeah, I could go for that. Yeah, I could do Rosamund. Plus, like, who the fuck do you know this name Rosamund? I could scream that during sex.
She was
Be
in
like,
an early, she was in what?
Rosamund, bud.
Die Another Day.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
She was sword slinging. I can't believe they let Halle Berry kill her. They should have killed Halle Berry, kept the Rosamund.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
There's an
Come
idea
on.
for a future podcast. We're going to have a James Bond podcast and have Guy back.
We should have done
That
that
is-
2 episodes ago. That was
That's
is
like my
7
thing that I
episode.
love.
Yeah.
That's like my.
That is an area where Guy and I very much connect.
Oh, I know that you are.
Yeah, hold on. Just because we're short on time.
Yeah.
Randy.
Oh, that's right.
Who's the guy you'd boink?
2.
Ooh.
Oh,
At
there's
the
two
same
of them?
time, Little Eiffel
Tatum.
Tower.
Channing Tatum.
What up?
choice.
Good looking dude. He's a good looking dude.
Good
The
choice.
Rock.
Totally.
The Rock.
Oh, and The Rock. He's a bigger dude.
That's hot.
He's like one big dude and
So-
then another big dude.
But like you said, I mean, when they're funny, it's pretty.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
That's a hot way to
Funniness
live.
goes a long way.
Yeah,
Randy,
and the two of them, great energy.
Randy into muscle daddies. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you smell what The Rock is doing?
So let's wrap this up.
He's doing you, Randy.
I mean,
Let's wrap this baby up. So is there Guy, while you're here, do you want to plug anything? Your Instagram? Your do you want to plug anything in that way? And do you want to plug anything you're doing? Matthew?
Whatever.
Yeah, I'll hang around. I'll do some dudes. It's fine. I mean, Instagram is the one social platform that I actually do have. For those of you who don't know, I do makeup and film and television, but I fell into that whole world from visual art and portraiture. And I have a really weird, my art is kind of all over the place, just like my stories obviously are. But if you guys are interested, I guess you can go on the Instagram, and it's Guy, GUYLEROYART, Guy Leroy Art. And, you can look at my silly shit. And there's actually a photograph of me with my bottle of poppers under my nose with my friend from the ass eating
My
story
friend.
with Precious. So you can actually see that from Halloween, and the caption underneath it is just "Sorry mom, sorry dad." Like, that really was the moment where I realized I'm like,
Whoops.
I'm the gay guy.
It is
and it's fine.
definitely a PG-13 Instagram.
And behind us,
event.
you can even see like over our shoulders, like the exact view from where we were dancing over the bar. Like you can see it all narrated. It's
Going to the game.
you know, gay bar, like an Electric Six. I love that song.
I do too.
Best
Also
place,
good music to have sex.
best
to.
places to hang out. I'll always choose a gay bar over anything else.
Totally. They have the best music. And everyone's
Best
so
music,
friendly.
best people.
Everyone wants to like buy you drinks. You don't got to fuck them. You just got to take the drinks.
But if you want to,
I don't know. Have you
Yeah.
seen me? Not many drinks being bought here, but I just have a great time.
Chow, you just
gotta
got to
go-
find the right bars.
Exactly.
Like,
I was
yeah.
about to say,
I'm
you
not
got to
as
go to
young.
the right bar.
I'm not as young as I used to be. Back in the day when I used to go down with the guys for the cast parties and so
beg your
forth.
pardon?
Back in the day.
You just go down on the guy.
When I used to go down on the guys in
When I
the
used to
gas
go
bar.
down
That's what I heard.
the guys. Did I say on?
With. Oh.
With.
Did I say on?
I'm not sure now.
Maybe.
I heard a lot of
Editing.
things. A lot of things are being said.
Go down
Maybe it was
on.
Freudian. Hey, let's go to the cast party.
Aren't all the bar
Show
stools
folk.
turned upside down though?
Yes. That is a real thing. Totally
Really?
true.
That's what I thought.
You could fit 4 times as many people in there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Which, you know, it's
also
Tuesday.
happened,
Like,
too.
we got to get on it.
Which describes a lot of gay guys that I know as well.
Welcome like they have sticks up there.
No, you can fit 4 times as many people in there.
Well, first you see, I sent the hamster up there, but then the hamster wasn't coming out.
So you're trying to tell me there's like 4 dogs in a bathtub?
So I went and I got the cat.
Wow.
I sent the cat up there, but then
Logistics
the
are
cat-
mind bending.
No matter what I did,
can't-
the cat wouldn't come out. So I went and I offered to take the neighbor's dog for a walk. See, and then I took the neighbor's dog, and I figured he would just rile up the cat. The cat would come right back out. That dog went straight up there. A couple hours later, the neighbor starts saying, "Hey, have you seen my dog? What happened to my dog? He took the dog for a walk. Where's the dog?" And I'm running out of excuses. So I called animal control. They sent 2 of their best guys right up in there after the dog. I told them I got a dog, a cat, and a hamster. Go get them.
And 2 guys.
Talking about his ass.
Yeah.
I believe he's talking about his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This all happened on my last doctor's visit. I was talking about,
I want to see your doctor.
my throat was sore. Anyway,
What?
so you're good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any final muscle bound words, Randy?
No, I'm good.
Right.
I'm good.
For the big gay Q&A.
Well, everybody, thanks for listening to the Talk Around Show's Big Gay Q&A with special guest Guy. I almost went into the Canadian thing and said Guy out of habit.
Hey, that's
Don't
fine.
do that.
Yeah,
I respond to a lot of different names.
we're upset by that, but we're definitely going to look forward to every opportunity we can have Guy on the show because you're funnier than us. So, but thank you very much for coming.
It's an 7 episode.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
007.
I would love to come and shoot
is
the shit
not-
with you guys again.
No. As in James Bond. 007.
okay.
Odd 7.
7.
Well, that was 2 episodes
Yeah.
ago.
What did you say yesterday? Wiggly, 19 Wiggly 4.
19 diggity 6. We had to say diggity because the guys are still all of our 2s.
God damn it.
Thanks, Grandpa Simpson.
That was crazy, Krauts.
Oh, you said Krauts this time. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right?
Clouds.
That was a mistake.
Yeah,
I felt so bad after I said that other word.
You did apologize. It was very nice.
I'm going to leave that to everybody to figure out what word I said because I'm not saying it again. Everybody, thanks for listening to the Talk Around Show. On behalf of all of us, have a great time. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
That was a really bad outro.
That's what do it again?
Do it again.
Do it again.
We're still recording, so just enjoy, motherfuckers.
Thanks, Dad, for listening.
Sorry, Dad. Thanks, Dad.
Thanks.
That was a lot of fun.
5 minutes to spare.
Damn.